Thank you very much, Honorable President, honorable members of the Parliament, for giving me this opportunity to respond to some of the concerns and questions that have been raised in this August House. I will go through in the same order that the questions were presented. So I'll start with the honorable member from Somalia.
Sorry, ideally we are giving you 5 minutes. Yeah, just to warn you that if you want to go through everything, it won't take, just pick, you have picked the issues already. Okay. So you can't go through everything now. Okay. You just pick the issues that came out. And more so the root causes, basically.
Okay. The root, let me start by the root causes. People might differ when it comes to the root causes of what is happening in the Sudan. But we have been in this, as I said yesterday, in this spiral of civilian democratic rule, military coup, civilian democratic rule, military coup, civilian democratic rule, military coup. This may be a story that has been repeated in many African countries, but specifically in Sudan, the military coups were not instigated by the military by themselves. But I think the various political forces in Sudan were behind some of these military coups. When their interests, or when they realized that they were going to lose an election, or that they were not happy with what was going on, they try and get the generals to come in to stop that. This has happened in 1958 when the Prime Minister of the time, Abdullah Khalil, handed over power to the military, asked them to step in because the opposition parties were now uniting against him. And then the military took over, and when he came back and he said, hand over to us, they refused. The same thing happened when Nimeri came to power, because during the democratic regime, the political parties got together and banned the Sudanese Communist Party and threw away its members from parliament. The Sudanese Communist Party took the government to court, and the court ruled that it was unconstitutional, but the government refused to abide. So the leftist forces got together and Nimeri came to power. The 1989 coup was planned and supported fully by the National Islamic Front. And they brought the government to power. And then after the military, the first initial phase, they started appearing in the scene, and they ruled the country for 30 years. When popular uprising that started in 2018 started getting stronger and bigger, the generals who were supporters of Bashir decided to get together and remove him. And there was supposed to have been a transitional period. But that transitional period was aborted by the actions of the generals, who dismissed the prime minister and took over power on the 21st of October 2021. Now, that might be the root cause of the problem. There might be other explanations for that, but that is how I see it. To go back to the debate, some of the points that came up, one of them was why the Janjaweed were not disbanded. We asked the same question. The same Janjaweed, which is now the Rapid Support Forces, was integrated into the government, was integrated into the Sovereign Council. The leader of the Janjaweed or of the Rapid Support Forces became the deputy head of the Sovereign Council, which is the head of state. And the same general who is now fighting the Janjaweed was saying the Janjaweed are part of the National Armed Forces. So all of a sudden things change. Why? Why, we ask? Wasn't this known in the past? Has it only become known overnight, and now they are criminals, and now they are terrorists, etc., etc.? They have always been terrorists. They have always been criminals. Everybody knows that. Some honorable member from DRC, Honorable Kabila, said the death toll must be higher than what I said. Definitely. But these are the official figures. I only conveyed the official figures that came from the Federal Ministry of Health. I don't think we will ever know the actual death toll of this current conflict. Definitely more than that. And there are indirect deaths, because I can tell you, for example, renal failure patients who go for dialysis or who take certain medications after kidney transplants cannot go to hospitals. There is no dialysis. How many thousands are threatened by death or have already died as a result of not accessing health facilities? We in the Sudanese community here, we are trying to collect donations and send it and buy certain medications that the Ministry of Health has said they have run out of, and send it to the Ministry of Health in order to help these patients. These are some of the initiatives that we have taken. On the issue of the current negotiations forum, which is organized by Saudi Arabia and the United States of America, I am not too sure about abandoning that forum and starting a new one. That forum has been fully supported by the African Union. So the African Union is involved, as well as IGAD. They are in full support of that process, and it's making progress. So why not stick to that? It's already making progress. So let us stick to that. People say we should have African peacekeeping forces. The funding for that is phenomenal. I have the privilege of working for both, or have worked for both the African Union and the United Nations. And I can tell you, the cost of having that is phenomenal. And it was tried in Sudan when the African Union sent a force to Darfur in the past. After a short period, they could not continue because the funding was not there. And then it was turned into a hybrid mission, UNAMID. Even the process of negotiations is extremely expensive.
Order.
Even that.
Order. You are doing another presentation.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is another presentation again.
I will do that.
Oh,
I'm just trying to answer the question.
What do you want are practical measures for the AU, for PAP. In your view, as a citizen, what are the practical measures that you advise PAP to implement? That's what we want to hear. Even the ambassador, when he comes on the floor, we just want to want practical measures to move ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. In my presentation, I actually there were, at the end of the presentation, 3 concrete recommendations that we made. And these were to put pressure on the current warring parties, for the Pan-African Parliament to join hands with the African Union and other forums to put pressure on those warring parties to stop the fighting, and not just a truce or a temporary ceasefire, but to stop the fighting completely and to come to the negotiating table. And the other recommendation is we think that this is not going to end once and for all until we return the country back to the process that it had started for returning civilian rule. That is the only solution, I think. For as long as the generals are fighting and they are there will always be these ambitions, and they will not let go, and they will always be fighting because that's the only language they understand, the generals. It's, they think everything can be solved by force and through the barrel of the gun. But we believe that if the country is not put on a path to return to civilian rule, these things will not be resolved. Thank you very much, Honorable President. Thank you very much, Honorable Members.
Before you leave the floor, you are the one who gave us a very clear illustration of the history of coups, civilian and military. In your view, what has caused that for Sudan? This is not coming out. What has caused that? Who has been removing who? Is it, for example, is it a tribe or particular tribe that has been doing this, or a particular region? Is it a particular region, particular ethnic group? But what is it that's peculiar to Sudan? It's not in every country. What do you think? Why do you think each time there is a proper civilian rule, some people want to remove those?
Okay, like I said earlier on, people have different analysis for this. But one of the major things is the mentality that has been put into the heads of our military, that they are better than everybody else. They think they are better than everybody else. They think they are better than the civilians. They think they are the custodians of the country, you know. They feel that nobody has the right to rule the country or to be in charge but themselves.
Thank you.
That is the major problem.
Thank you. We can have the Excellency Ambassador. Let's clap for